So the Golden Globe Foundation just announced all their nominees for the 2025 Golden Globes Awards. And in 2025, I will be dedicating half of all my channels to talking about film and talking about cinema, talking about, TV and all that stuff. So I figured what a better time than now to talk about the nominees for all the films in the Golden Globes and give my predictions for what I think is going to happen or who I think at least should win. In this video, I will not be going through the TV nominations because I don't watch TV. Like outside of professional wrestling, that's it. So I don't really have a commentary to give on TV nominations, so I'm gonna go straight to the movie categories. If there are any cinephiles in the chat, please feel free to comment down below what your thoughts are, who you think is gonna win, and all the other stuff. With that being said, let's get into the Golden Globes 2025 nominees. The nominees for Best Song in a Motion Picture: Beautiful That Way in The Last Showgirl, music by Andrew Wyatt. Compress Repress in Challengers, music by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. El Mal and Emilia Perez, music by I'm gonna butcher some of these names, I apologize ahead of time. Clémence Ducal and Camille. Forbidden Road in Better Man, music by Robbie Williams, Freddie Wexler, and Sacha Scarbeck? Sacha Scarbeck, we'll go with that. Kiss the Sky and Wild Robot, music by DeLacy Jordan K. Johnson and Stephen Johnson. And Mi Camino and Emilia Perez, music by Clement Ducal and Camille. Okay, hear me out. We are missing Don't You Know, Pump It Up. You've got to pump it up. I'm sorry, the song from The Substance should have been in here. Should have been nominated. Was not going to win, but it should have been nominated. Another one, Beyond, from Moana 2, should have been in here too. That was a really good song. Also, where are all the Smile 2 soundtrack songs? Those are good too. Doctor, I need a new break. I don't know. Smile 2 got snubbed. I can tell y'all that right now. It's not a single nomination in here, and that's very disappointing to know. From all the songs on this list, the only one I have heard, because I will admit I have not seen every single movie that is nominated, the only one I have heard is Kiss the Sky and Compress. I will probably go Compress Repress. That song kind of, goes off in my head when I think of the challengers. But honestly and truly, we missed a few hitters in this category, I'm being honest with you. Best Score in a Motion Picture. We have Volker Bolterman from The Conclave, Daniel Bloomberg for The Brutalist, Chris Bowers for The Wild Robots, Clement Ducal and Camille for Emilia Perez, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for Challengers, and Hans Zimmer for Dune Part 2. Immediately, Hans Zimmer is the GOAT, so he has my pick immediately. The only movies I have not seen on this list is Emilia Perez, which I will be watching today, and The Brutalist, which I don't even think is going to have a theatrical release this year, so I don't think I'm going to be seeing it until next year. Which honestly I think is cheating, because if theatrically no one can see the movie, then why is it getting nominated for 2024? But that's just me. Dune Part 2 was a fantastic film, and the scoring, the music that goes on in the background, just every element of sound was perfect. And it's all because Hans Zimmer is the goated score director when it comes to his film. So by default, I'm giving it to Hans Zimmer. Runner-up might be Volker for Conclave, but no, it's Hans Zimmer all day. Best Screenplay for a Motion Picture. We have Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Corbet and Mona Fastvold for The Brutalist, Jesse Eisenberg in A Real Pain, Coralie Farge in The Substance, and Peter Straw in Conclave. For those of you who don't know, Best Screenplay is more so talking about the scripting of the film, more so anything than over anything else. How Best Score is more so to do with sound. This is about the scripting, the words, the screenplay. You got to take all aspects of everything you see and everything you hear, and more so everything you can read with this one. What the characters are saying is what this is about. Process of Elimination, I got knocked out Emilia Perez and The Brutalist because I haven't seen those yet. Also A Real Pain, I haven't seen that yet either. It really comes down to Sean Baker, Coralie Farge, and Peter Straw. It's a tough one, but I think I will probably knock out The Substance, only because The Substance, for as great as it is a visually cunning movie. It is very heavy on the production, on you seeing and visually taking in all of the disturbing imagery. And that doesn't have too much to do with the script. So even though there are powerful words, there is powerful meaning behind everything going on, it's more visuals than a lot of the script, I would say. So I'm going to take The Substance out of it. It'll come down to The Conclave and Honora. I was very entertained by Honora, and I was very intrigued by The Conclave. But if I have to select the winner, I would give it to Sean Baker for Honora. The ride it takes you on with Honora is one that I think is one of the best of the entire year. But again, Conclave is great as well. That is definitely my runner-up. Best director in the motion picture, we have Jacques from Emilia Perez, Sean Baker from Honora, Edward Berger from Conclave, Brady Corbet from The Brutalist, Coralie Forget for The Substance, and Payel Kapadi for All We Imagine as Light. Cinephiles might hate me for this, but I didn't even know the last one even existed, so that's being knocked out, as well as Emilia Perez, because I have not seen it yet, and The Brutalist. Again, it comes down to The Substance, Conclave, and Honora. This is mainly focusing on the director's image, and for that alone, I would give it to The Substance, because I think if this were directed by anybody else, The Substance looks like a completely different film. Visually, sound-wise, I think Coralie Forget definitely put out the optimal vision for what The Substance is supposed to bring, so I would give it to Coralie Forget. It will probably end up going to Edward Berger, but Coralie should definitely get this. Best supporting male actor in a motion picture, you have Yura Borisov in Honora, Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain, Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce in The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice, and Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2. Core 4 I have not seen admittedly, so I would only be able to debate between Yura Borisov and Denzel Washington. Here's the thing, Yura Borisov, for as important as his character was to Honora, his character really didn't say a lot. And I feel like when you don't get to articulate as much of your thoughts as other characters that are nominated, it's kind of hard to really say you deserve it unless you were like giving the emotional, visual, facial expression storytelling of like all the other categories, which I don't even think he did. By default, I would give it to Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, who did stunningly well. And it's Denzel. Why are we surprised? This category might turn some heads. Best Supporting Female Actor in a Motion Picture, Selena Gomez in Emilia Perez, Ariana Grande Butera in Wicked, Felicity Jones in The Brutalist, Marguerite Qualley in The Substance, Isabella Rossellini in Conclave, and Zoe Saldana in Emilia Perez. Emilia Perez just better be the greatest movie of all time for all the nominations it has. That's all I know. I can only speak to Conclave, The Substance, and Wicked because those are the only ones I've seen on this list so far. Elizabeth Rossellini, I think, did a great job in The Conclave, but Best Supporting Actress, she barely got, like, I feel like 10 minutes of screen time. Listen, you could give a stellar performance in less than 10 minutes, but when you think about how much screen time Margaret Qualley and Ariana Grande Butera got in Wicked and The Substance, I can't give it to Isabella. I can't. Margaret Qualley also did a great job as Sue in The Substance. As important as her character was, I don't think she was as complex and as befitting and, you know, gives you a lot more thought-provoking about her actions than Glinda was. I think Demi Moore has a better shot at winning Best Actress than Margaret Qualley has as Best Supporting Actress. No shot to her. I 100% would give it to Ariana Grande Butera as Glinda in Wicked. Not only did she carry the vocals of that film, but she was the supposed beacon of hope in Wicked. And I say that because that's how she's supposed to be portrayed, but the more you think about it, the more you see her actions, as pompous as she is, she's, like I said, her character has a lot of layers to it, and there's a lot to think about when it comes to Glinda. It wasn't as layered as Margaret Qualley, or I feel like all the other nominees were. For that matter, I would give it to Ariana Grande. Best Male Actor in a Motion Picture Musical Comedy, Jesse Eisenberg in A Real Pain, Hugh Grant in Heretic, Gabriel LaBelle in Saturday Night, Jesse Plemons in Kinds of Kindness, Glenn Powell in Hitman, and Sebastian Stan in A Different Man. I have not had a chance to see any other movie on this list aside from Heretic, so by default, I would give it to Hugh Grant, who I think did a really good job, to even great job, as Mr. Reed in that film. Character could be very paralyzing and very intimidating, so I think he deserves it. Best Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama, we have Pamela Anderson in The Last Showgirl, Angelina Jolie in Maria, Nicole Kidman in Baby Girl, Tilda Swinton in The Room Next Door, Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here, and Kate Winslet in Lee. The fact that Demi Moore was not nominated for Best Female Performance in a Motion Picture Drama is insulting. I don't think she carried the film, but she was a vital part of it, and I think she should be nominated for that alone. Complete transparency, I have not seen a single movie on this list, and that doesn't mean I haven't seen a single movie on any list, but this list specifically is like the first one of all the nominations where I can say I have not seen a single movie on this list. I have heard a lot of talk and a lot of good things about Maria, And obviously, I've heard a lot of good things about Baby Girl as well. I would probably give it to Angelina Jolie for Maria. Best non-English language motion picture. All We Imagine as Light in the USA, France, and India. Emilia Perez from France. The Girl with the Needle from Poland, Sweden, and Denmark. I'm Still Here from Brazil. The Seed of a Sacred Fig from USA and Germany. And Vermiglio from Italy. I've seen some clips from The Seed of a Sacred Fig, but I've not seen the full movie yet, so that's the only one I really could comment on. For as many nominations as Emilia Perez has, it's probably going to win this award. The Golden Globes is golden gobbling up Emilia Perez with 10 nominations. I imagine it's going to win at least one, probably 3, maybe even 5. This is going to be one of them. Cinematic and box office achievement. This is a fun category, but once you really think about it, it gets narrowed down really quickly. We have Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Deadpool and Wolverine, Gladiator 2, Inside Out 2, Twisters, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I have seen all these movies, so I can talk about it. We're not talking about what the best movie on this list is. We're talking about cinematic and box office achievement. And when you think about it from the aspect of who did the highest in box office, what was the fastest growing, all those metrics, which I do follow, the only two it comes down to is Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine, because they're the only 2 movies on this list that reach over $1 billion. Now, Wicked is still in the running because it's still at its theatrical release. I believe it's only on week 3, but when Moana 2, I doubt it's actually going to hit $1 billion. So again, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Inside Out 2 are the only ones in the running. Now, when we look at the numbers for the worldwide box office, number 2 is Deadpool, Wolverine, and number 1 is Inside Out 2. And Inside Out 2 has a $300 million lead over Deadpool Wolverine. So by that metric, immediately, it should go to Inside Out 2. Especially when you consider that in a very short period of time, Inside Out 2 became the highest grossing animated film of all time. And it did this in 4 months, 5 months? It literally achieved $1 billion in 3 weeks. It's one of the fastest growing movies of all time. I think for that metric alone, it might more than likely win number 1. It might likely win this award. Deadpool Wolverine does have a dog in the fight. And that dog in the fight is that Deadpool Wolverine is the highest grossing rated R movie of all time. And that's a huge achievement because it is only the second rated R movie ever behind the Joker, well, in front of the Joker, to gross over $1 billion. Think about how many rated R movies have released in the last 100 years. And Deadpool and Wolverine in 5 months did that. Even Oppenheimer, which swept the Oscars last year, didn't gross $1 billion, but Deadpool did. And also, Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are in the top 5 running. I don't think anyone should be adding out the fact that Deadpool Wolverine can take this award. I think it is a 40-60 shot Deadpool Wolverine takes it. However, that is 40-60. Prediction is that it will go to Inside Out 2. Because it's Disney, it's animated, it's family friendly, I think that's why it's going to get it. But again, in a year where a rated R body horror film like The Substance has got nominated for 5 different awards, don't count out Deadpool Wolverine. I think it has a fighting chance of winning it. But my prediction, Inside Out 2. Best Animated Picture of the Year. Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance, Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. I did all that talk about Inside Out 2, and I can't even say it's a guarantee this one wins it. Because it's going to come down to Inside Out 2, Moana 2, and The Wild Robot. Now, mind you, The Wild Robot is great. It's got nominated a bunch of times, but we can knock it out right now because I just don't see how it's gonna trump Inside Out 2. The only movie that will likely trump Inside Out 2 in this category is Moana 2, and everybody knows it. For those who don't know, Moana 1 was streamed for nearly 80 billion, not million, billion minutes, which is the equivalent to watching the movie 748 million times. This is Disney's most streamed movie of all time, and even more than Inside Out 1 and Inside Out 2. While I don't think Moana 2 is going to do as great as Moana 1 did, don't count it out because though it would be very undeserving of winning that award because it wasn't that great of a film, it can win it. I am confident in saying that it will go to Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 was fantastic and it deserves all the awards. Once again, The Wild Robot might be a sleeper pick in here, but Inside Out 2 is my overall pick. We get into the big 2. Best Picture, Musical Comedy, Honora, Challengers, Emilia Perez, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Wicked. Process of elimination, we could take out Amelia Perez and A Real Pain. I haven't seen either one of them. It comes down to Honora, Challengers, The Substance, and Wicked. Wicked was a great film, so much so that a lot of people who don't even like musicals say they enjoyed Wicked. I'm one of them. I enjoyed Wicked so much, I'll be seeing it again today. I might see it for a third time some point next year, who knows. The singing was great, everything was timed perfectly, and the acting was up to par with some of the best I have seen this year. However, is it going to win an Oscar for Best Picture? No. And will it win a Golden Globe for Best Picture? Also no. It's in a category with Honora, The Substance, and Challengers. It's not taking it, I'm sorry. Like I said earlier, the best shot Wicked has of winning a Golden Globe is Ariana Grande Butera for Best Supporting Actress. That's it. Wicked is basically in the same slot that Barbie was in last year, where it got in for its cinematic box office achievement, but that's really all it gets in for. I mean, and other aspects, but like when we have a Best Picture conversation, I don't really see how anybody argues this wins Best Picture. It just doesn't. Challengers is exactly what spring needed. It was a film about Zendaya manipulating two bisexual men into being better players by having sex with her and themselves. I mean, it's deeper than that, but on the surface, that's really what it is. I mean, it was a really good to even great movie, and I think only now are we really giving it that conversation for Best Picture, because as the year went on, I feel like less and less people talked about the Challengers. If it was really a Best Picture worthy film, I think it would have been a mainstay in the conversation. And for that matter, I think it does not take it. Which would bring this category down to The Substance and Honora. Listen, I love The Substance. I think it was a beautiful tale that was told by Coralie Forget, and featured Demi Moore and Margot Qualley and Dennis Quaid. I knew as soon as I saw it, this is going to be nominated for Best Picture. And even though it is a horror movie, and horror movies tend to get snubbed a lot, there was a lot of conversation, there was a lot of dialogue that this film really told about female self-hatred, beauty standards, what humans are willing to go to achieve success in the world. Like, this film really is a conversation piece. And for that matter, it had to be nominated. But going into the movie as a whole, it is a fantastic film. But given the history of the Academy and given the history of these award shows, it is very unlikely that a horror movie is going to win Best Picture. I wanted to, but I don't think it is. Anyone's taking it, I think it's going to Honora, which also, mind you, won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival this year. And there hasn't been a single American film to win the Palme d'Or since 2012. So if there is no shoo-in for this film to win, I don't really know what is. And not to say it's undeserving, because it is a fantastic film. I think it may stand the test of time as one of the greatest romantic comedies that I've ever seen. One of the best rom-coms of all time. And against The Substance, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. For me personally, I think I would still give it to The Substance, but I think Honora's taking it. My pick for Best Picture of Musical Comedy will go to Honora. For Best Picture Drama, we have The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, The Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, and September 5th. The only two films on this list that I have seen is The Conclave and Dune Part 2. I think a lot of people are sleeping on The Conclave because they either have not seen it or they aren't really putting it in a serious running for a drama. It is a fantastic political drama about men fighting to be the next pope. Stanley Tucci 100% got snubbed for not being nominated as Best Supporting Actor. Academy for the Oscars better fix that. But overall, fantastic film. Should be nominated. I would be happy if it won. However, I think it's probably going to Dune Part 2. There was so much critical acclaim for this film when it came out. And the star-studded the ensemble cast, Dave Bautista, Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, Austin Butler, Josh Brolin, Florence Pugh. I don't know how it doesn't win. I think Dune Part 2 is taking it. That's my predictions for the Golden Globes. What are yours? Comment down below. Let me know. Talk more.